Day 1 question for January 1st. In what ways do I unconsciously assume that my inner experience is private, sealed, or self generated? And what evidence do I actually have for that assumption? I have to reread that. In what ways do I unconsciously assume that my inner experience is private, sealed, or self generated? And what evidence do I actually have for that assumption? Sometimes I'll be pushing pause to really think on this, and you can do the same. I'll be back. Okay, so this one was hard because it says, in what ways do I unconsciously assume? Oh no, I'm unconscious. But where it really led me was to, and it led me there pretty quickly. I was only gone maybe a minute. This idea that my inner experience is private, is of my own making, that private and of my own making. Like I generated it, self-generated. And what evidence do I have no evidence for that assumption. That's what I came to. I was like, I actually have no evidence, and that means it's all made up by my mind, thinking I'm creating everything that's happening inside of me, when in actuality, I am just a bundle of reactions. My nervous system is just responding to the environment. I know that to be a fact of the human biology, that there's light, there's sound, there's heat. All of this, it's like input to my nervous system, and then it's generating feelings inside of me. And sometimes those feelings generate emotions that I can, that then come out of me and are made visible or made aware to me even more than maybe the sensations were. Sometimes sensations turn so quickly through that process into feelings and emotion that I think I created that mood that I'm in. It's just a matter of something I'm doing that I should be able to fix, or I just feel like I'm at the whim of it, So I feel like somehow that feels, so many things are coming up. I feel like it makes me feel like I'm just a biological creature that responding to my environment. Like I feel the inputs. That's what our nervous system does. That's what it does. It lets the inputs bounce off, they make impact, and then it does something with them. It will respond, it will file them away. Sometimes they're more dramatic or traumatic to the system. Sometimes they're not consciously registered, but our body's registering that. And it generates my inner experience a lot of times. What else would my inner experience be in that unconscious, like when I unconsciously assume that my inner experience is private, is sealed, is self-generated? It made me think of like my brain, my ego self, thinks it's so clever that this is who I am, and I am choosing this personality, and I'm choosing how I'm responding to my environment, when really I'm just a bundle of reactionary responses, like reactions versus responses. You know what I mean? The other thing, when it says private and sealed, it makes me think about ways in which I assume no one understands me, and yet I can understand them. Another ego-filled thing to really shine a light on. That's what this whole year is about. So yeah, that whole private, you can't see me, but I can see you. I have that in me. I know I do. And it's something I've been working on, and I want to keep working on, to say that's not aligned in my authenticity. If I felt aligned all the time, I'd be like, there's nothing to hide. There's nothing private. There's nothing sealed away from your observation. What you see is what you get, and what you get is how I feel. And I'm in alignment with my inner, my outer, my physical, my spiritual, however you want to say it. And when I unconsciously assume that I am an enigma to you, but I know me, but you don't know me, because of my own past woundedness of like, to be seen is to be exposed. To be exposed is to live a little bit in danger, to be in the line of fire. So that's my own history. So and throughout my life, I've grappled with this one a lot. This whole like keeping secrets because it was safer. And then I read something online just today or yesterday that was like, as a woman, like I think she generalized it to like women in general. I never did that before. I thought it was just me, where I felt very like secretive. Like when women say, "Oh, I'm fine," we're not fine. Not all the time, but we'll say I'm fine. It's just like safer, right? Than being exposed to maybe be reprimanded for that, but also just exposed for people wanting to fix us, because people need a woman to be okay, because then they can feel okay, and it's not just women. We all do that, don't we? Like, I don't want to be exposed as being not okay, because I don't want people to try to fix me. There's nothing to fix. I just want to be in my way of being without being exposed. And so that's when it made me think of using this word private. I've tried to be private a lot in my life, like not expose the real me, the real feelings, the real thoughts, because it's too dangerous, too revealing. And then I'm like, then I can't control what's going to happen from there. Then you're going to go off and try to fix me, or you're going to think this about me or feel this way about me. And I don't need any of that. So let's just seal it up. Let's just not reveal anything to you that's of any substance, that's of any truth. And so I've done that a lot in my life. I know I still do it. I know I do in different ways. And I don't mean to. And so that's the unconscious part, where it feels like all of that is self-generated. And maybe some of that is just a story in my head. You know how what's the reality of the situation? Those are old traumas like playing out in various dysfunctional ways throughout my life. And it's because I still carry this wounded story with me or something, But I have and what evidence do I actually have for that? None. I have no evidence other than my own inner experience, my own way I feel about that inner experience. Like, oh yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And even that lacks humility, that I know exactly what I'm doing and why and where it comes from. And that it's that part of me that I'm dealing with all the time, that's especially after last year's Course in Miracles, like trying to see things clearly, the mechanisms up here. It's like, oh yeah, I do that. My ego has run amok. It thinks it knows everything. And so it's going to be very clever about telling the story so that it doesn't have to like really be vulnerable maybe. And that's another part of that secrecy, is like, I don't want to be vulnerable a lot of times with I almost said like people who aren't worthy of that, but that's a story too, because it's like, what does that mean? That was almost like, I kind of feel that way, like there's something in there about like worthiness, but that means I lack self-worth because I'm projecting that outwards, because the inner is the outer. So much is coming up with this question like my inner experience is private, sealed, and self-generated, when in actuality, at a spiritual level, I think about how we're all part of the same soup. You know, it's not private, it's not sealed, it's not self-generated. And at some level, okay, so there's free will, there's sense of agency, and then I hear people talk about in the like super spiritual world where if you kind of subscribe to this one soul, there is really no free will, and things are just happening, and we flow with it. There's like, how much do we really control? Nothing. Man, I'm sure there's a lot more here, but I'm going to try to keep these shorter this year. Who knows? Maybe not. Yeah, feel free to reply and let me know what came up for you. Like I said in my intro to these questions, I think each day, if I ask this on a different day, I might get a different, I know I probably will get a different answer. But that's what showing up day one. Bye.